Good evening and welcome to Spectrum News. I'm Jaclyn and tonight you'll hear how I got the idea for my senior project, what I did to put it into practice, and I'll give you a peek inside the project itself. So, let's start at the beginning. What did I do? I was the executive producer for an on-campus newscast. This helped me to focus on leadership and communication, and it gave me an opportunity to practice my leadership skills and to learn to communicate with my peers as a leader. I partnered with the TV news class on campus, and I did this based on prior experience, and my goal was to create a foundation for growth. How I did this was based on leadership principles learned in classes and through other experience, along with guidance from my professors to determine my leadership style. The theory that I used was a leadership styles and communication, and you can see the scale up there from workforce through top management, and I chose to use consultative style, which focuses on the end result by using the skills of others in formulating plans and making decisions. So basically, I played the role of mentor and the facilitator of the team, and I involved people who were having problems in seeking ideas for a solution and found a way to lead the team while still being involved as a part of the team and making group decisions to encourage growth and learning. Why I chose to do this was based on my previous experience, starting with coursework. In fall of 2009, I took the TV news class as a sophomore. I learned about news, reporting, journalism, storytelling, and producing. I also took a media management class in 2010, and I learned management principles as well as leadership. And for 2.5 years, I have been a student leader at WIWU-TV, and I currently produce the show Crossroads. I also had an internship this summer at a TV station in Indianapolis, and it gave me an up-close look at a professional newsroom. Why did I choose to do Spectrum News for my senior project? Well, as I said before, I was a student participant in this class 2 years ago, and I felt like it didn't reach the maximum potential just based on class weaknesses, time, and the lack of resources. So I wanted to put an emphasis on news since that's what I'm interested in, and we focused on campus news because students don't usually know what's going on campus, and this was just another outlet for them to learn that. I focused on producing because through my prior experience, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I wanted to share my knowledge and experience with others. So I worked at building a rundown, writing scripts, and following up with reporters on stories. This also is a very unique experience because there's nothing else like this on campus. This is the only student newscast broadcast on TV, well, on the web, but for TV. And so it was just another outlet to let students know what was going on. And I wanted to build on what we did 2 years ago by having a stronger web presence, weekly web stories, and just increasing the journalism of the class. I also learned a lot through my summer internship at WTHR Channel 13 in Indianapolis. I did a lot of observing while I was there. I observed how meetings were run, how stories were chosen, and kind of what the hierarchy of responsibilities were from news director all the way down to reporters and who did what. It gave me a glimpse of what to do and what not to do as a leader. So the process was all the work that I did throughout this semester. My goals and objectives were many. The first was to develop the social media and website. That's the thing that I think we were lacking the most the first time through, and I wanted to create a more in-depth website for organizing the stories that we would post each week. So you can see all the way on the end there, that's just a sample of our website that we just used a WordPress account, and it was really easy for everyone in the class to post to. And then I also helped manage our Facebook and Twitter accounts, and we increased our followers by 30 people, so that was exciting. I also helped create the newscast concept. Starting with the design, we had to come up with a set design, a color scheme, and what our tone we wanted to be for our newscast, kind of what was our theme. I also helped create the content concept with designing the layout for the rundown and creating the 4 different segments that we would have in each newscast, going from hard-hitting news stories, sports, and features. I also helped with designing the concept for the script and how stories were organized based on the transition from story to story and the flow of the newscast. With the help of a design team, I designed the graphics for our whole branding of the newscast, and you can see our logo right there. But I also created the header for our website and all of the graphics that you would see on screen during our newscast. And we chose colors and kind of came up with a concept together and used programs like VizRT, Photoshop, and Illustrator. Another thing that I really wanted to focus on as an objective was to train producers, because this is something that I love doing and I feel like it's a really valuable opportunity for people to learn. So I produced the first show of our 5 newscasts, and I wanted to do that so that I could demonstrate just how to produce a newscast, how it should come together, and what the responsibilities of the producer are. And then for the next 4 weeks, there was a different producer each week, and they learned from the producer before them and from me to learn the scripting program and kind of what all their responsibilities were from taking the show from 0 to a 20-minute newscast in the matter of a week. I also wanted to oversee and assist with the newscast each week. So I worked with the producer during the show, if and when they had questions, and kind of coaching them through the whole show, and took notes on good things, things that we did well each week so we could continue to be successful, and then also on things that could use improvement. And each week there was always new things that just needed tweaking, or things that we decided we're not going to do that at all, so let's try and find something else. And that was both journalistically and production-wise. And along with production, we had another class come in and help us with that. So I worked with them to kind of figure out what their roles and figure out kind of how the flow of everything was going to work. Obviously, there were definitely challenges, and I think anyone who did a project could agree with me. Time was a big one, just because it was hard to coordinate schedules between all these people to work collaboratively and to have time to meet. Technical issues, because there were things that I just didn't know how to do. I didn't necessarily know how to design the graphics or use all these programs, and we always had audio and video problems during our shows. So those were all things that there were other people to come along and help me, which was very wonderful. Working with a team was a challenge, just because for me, this is all stuff I know how to do, and it would be so much easier to just do it myself. But something I really had to learn was to delegate and trust that other people could do just as good a job as me and get the work done. And communication was a big thing too. That was a challenge, just keeping everybody on the same page and everybody trying to communicate with one another was something that we had to work on. So the project itself consisted of 5 weekly newscasts. They're 20 minutes long with 4 segments in each show. I oversaw scripting, the storytelling during the week, graphics, videos we would have to work on. I would help people with their stories and with editing and writing. I also helped with our web presence and helped our web producer. So there was a lot of stuff that went into the week leading up to it. And basically, the overarching theme was to just coordinate and monitor the progress of all members of the team to come up with a newscast every Thursday night. So here is a sample video of just some behind-the-scenes stuff and some snippets from our newscast.
Good evening, and welcome to Spectrum News.
Spectrum News. Spectrum News.
Spectrum News at 7.
Students are rapidly joining the Facebook group known as Overheard at IWU.
IT Express Coordinator Norm Barker is definitely aware of the Wi-Fi problem.
The Wildcat coaching staff set the bar high for this year's team.
Complaining about a foul call was just better.
Even though not every student agreed with the protest, it was the first real step to students taking action.
But some students find themselves right back here, frustrated and waiting in line.
So you gotta do that, and you have to get the trash out of the classrooms.
Let's take a look at the highlights. We're going to start this one late in the second half. The Wildcats tied up.
That leaves this sandwich company in a crunch.
So from this project, I learned a lot about leadership, a lot about working with a team, and what it takes just to get a newscast put together every week. And it involved a lot of work from a lot of people, and I would just like to take a moment to recognize some of them. Both the TV news class and the Intro to TV class were invaluable in getting this done every week, along with some staff and faculty who played a key role in helping me get everything done. So thank you to all of them, and does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
First of all, Jaclyn, you were great to work with. It was a pleasure to work with. Could you explain a little bit about your feedback process from this experience?
From the class?
Either from the class or from professors, or just from doing this project. Is there any way that you're going to get feedback about your leadership, or feedback about?
That's a good question. I think that's something I could look into. So far, there's been feedback throughout the semester, just on a weekly basis, but not anything substantial necessarily. It was just kind of in conversation, but that's something that I could look into. Thank you. If there are no further questions, I would like to introduce my friend and colleague, Molly Meyer. She is a journalism major with a political science concentration. She's from Bettendorf, Iowa, and she's the managing editor of The Sojourn and the co-host of the TV show Crossroads.